It's Tuesday night. Do you know where your podcasters are? Well, yeah, by God, they're right in front of us. This is Mikey and the Mad Dog. He's Mikey. I'm the Mad Dog. Hot damn. Mikey, how are you, my friend? It's Tuesday night. This is our Friday, brother.
Yeah, it's good to be here, Angelo. We've got a great topic tonight that I'm looking forward to revisiting our roots, so to speak. So I'm ready
Yeah.
anytime you are.
Yes, tonight, check this out, folks. The Wrestling Roundtable. We bring them back, the Wrestling Roundtable. Yes, we are. We started this show. The Roundtable actually started when Jeff the Ref was still with us, and he kind of inspired it. We called it the Refs Roundtable back then.
Right.
So we just want to call it the Wrestling Roundtable. Mikey and I, of course, as Mikey said, our roots are firmly planted in old school. I think I speak for you when I say old school, Mikey. Old school pro wrestling, largely.
Yeah.
When wrestling, like Nikita would say, when wrestling was real.
Right.
Then hell of a book, by the way, too. Nikki wrote. Um, so a lot's changed, Mikey. I'll start off by making an observation, and I'm just going to kind of follow your lead tonight. Um, Couple of observations. Wrestling seems to me, maybe it's because I'm older and jaded,
Right.
but professional wrestling to me seems to have lost its luster. There's no star power. And I heard somebody say, I don't know if it was Paul Levesque or somebody in that company, but I heard someone say something to the effect, and maybe you can elaborate on it, that no single wrestler will ever be bigger than the company. Can you? Am I kind of in the ballpark
Yeah,
there?
I think that's by design, though. I think that the company would refer to the WWE in that exact context, and I think they've actually limited what I call burying someone alive, which is what they did with Becky Lynch when she was en route to go to WrestleMania and face both Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey in the main event. First time ever that a women's match was the last match on the card, the main event. And they gave Becky around February of that year, which must have been 2019, they gave her a fake leg injury, like a fake broken leg for a couple of weeks. And everybody could see that she really didn't have a broken leg, and it
Yeah.
storyline that they didn't need. It was just something unnecessary for the story of Becky Lynch winning both championships of WrestleMania. So my point is that's just one example. They've done that with Kofi Kingston a little bit. They've done that with other wrestlers where Brian Danielson or Daniel Bryan, where even if they're promoting someone to win a world championship or a top championship, they kind of knock them down a couple of pegs along the way of getting to that title. And it doesn't seem to make any sense, except what the WWE wants is that no wrestler is ever again bigger than the promotion, a la Hulk Hogan in the 80s and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the late 90s, because they don't want the wrestlers to have a position of power at the bargaining table. So they purposely
Yeah.
keep their top talents in check. And it's unfortunate. And I think AEW a couple of years ago kind of did the same thing, whether they realized it or not, with, believe it or not, Eddie Kingston. There was a summer, Angelo, I think of 2022 maybe, when Eddie
Mhm.
Kingston was really getting organically hot. Like he was doing some really great promos. And for whatever reason, people were just into Eddie Kingston for 3 or 4 months. He was more popular than usual, and it
Yeah.
kind of felt like a Daniel Bryan thing. And for whatever reason, AEW didn't really pull the trigger on Eddie and push him as far as they could. So it does seem to be a pattern that AEW, whether they realize it or not, at least follow that one time. Maybe they haven't done that as much as WWE does.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I was going to ask you what would be the reasoning for trying to hold somebody back, but you actually went right into it as I was thinking, which was, the bargaining power. You give
Right.
somebody a bargaining chip, they're going to use it. Like, you talked about Hulk Hogan and Steve Austin. Well, before Hulk Hogan and before Steve Austin, people forget, people my age don't forget, but we had people like superstar Billy Graham and Pedro Morales and Bob Backlund and Bruno Sammartino.
Right.
And prior to him, the guy who had more bargaining power than anybody, legit, the Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers, the original Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers, who had all kinds of stroke with that company. Um, but what he did, though, and what they all did, but see, how do they say it, Mikey? History's written by the winners.
That's the exact
Like,
expression. Yes.
yeah. Well, in this case, history is rewritten by the winners to fit their narrative. Because if you looked at Buddy Rogers and Bruno and Hulk and Bob Backlund and Stone Cold, and even in the more modern era, John Cena, superstar Billy Graham, what did they do? They all popularized pro wrestling in the mainstream. You don't have that now. You don't have a mainstream audience. You've got a niche internet wrestling community. They call themselves the IWC.
Sure.
That's what they monikered themselves the IWC. And Paul Levesque and Bruce Pritchard and all the rest of the dinosaurs like Michael Hayes and with the exception of Paul Heyman, because that man's fucking brilliant, is you've got these guys that have been there way too long, but long enough, Mikey, long enough to remember the history of what it used to be. But they're not smart enough. They've been there long enough, but they're not smart enough to pull from the shelf. You've got a legacy on that shelf. Fucking use it. Use it, for crying out loud, boys.
Sure.
We miss our wrestling. We want our wrestling back. See here, and I believe this, Mikey. And just call me old school, but I'm one of them believers. Everything old is new again. We're going to see a return to the names being, marquee names. We're going to see that. We're not seeing it yet, but it's going to take some shakeup for that to happen.
Well,
But it's going to happen.
let me push back, as the kids say, a little bit. Do you not think that Roman Reigns at this point has established himself as a top name that mainstream fans, if they're already, would recognize?
Nope.
You don't think Roman Reigns has gotten there?
And I'll tell you why. Nope. Even though Roman he looks like a fucking movie star.
Yeah.
He looks like a god. He's got a hell of a body. He's got an amazing physique. His face is like chisels from granite.
Sure.
He's got the long flowing Jason Momoa hair. They're probably at some point related because they're both Samoan. But the problem with Roman, is not Roman. The problem with Roman is they've got him on a leash this big.
Okay.
And they're afraid for him to go too far. Why? Because they know what he can do.
Right.
Again, Mikey, remember the key words. No single wrestler will ever be bigger than the company. They're not going to let it happen. They're just not.
Well, here's a few more examples from recent times.
Right?
The Rock is kind of a once in a lifetime case, but after him, you can make a case that both Dave Bautista and John Cena, who really peaked around 2005, WrestleMania 21, I would say they both peaked around 2005. But Cena and Batista have both crossed over into mainstream stuff and have both come back to the WWE several times, especially Cena. I mean, Cena did a lot of wrestling in 2025 up until his retirement show in December of 2025. He was wrestling. He was the champion. He was quite active. He finally did a heel turn that everybody was asking for, and then didn't like it once he did it. But I think there's a couple of guys, you know, and maybe a couple of women too, that if the promotion, and I do like what you say about the leash thing, because I think if the WWE were to allow Rhea Ripley, for instance, to do a horror franchise, like if she was in, say, the movies with the who's the doll, Megan, the female doll,
Megan, yeah,
like
Megan.
If they made a giant Rhea Ripley character that was like the opposition of Megan, but it was Rhea Ripley as the doll, right? And she's like the goth hot topic doll,
Right.
as an example, you know, like they could print money with that, because the guys would come to see it and the young women would come to see it too.
Yeah.
I
Mikey,
think
I'm gonna tell you something about that. You just reminded me of something.
sure.
Rhea Ripley, for almost 2 straight years, because when you said print money, you know, the light bulb went off. Rhea Ripley, for almost 2 straight years, was the single largest earning moneymaker WWE had, male or female.
Sure.
That woman, all she has to do is show up and they start printing money, okay?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Roman's the same way, but they got to loosen that leash a little bit. They got to let him do media. They got to let him crank out a couple, 2 or 3 movies. They all come back, like you say, but remember something. They don't come back. They get invited back. They get invited back when WWE needs ticket sales boosted.
Right.
They bring back The Rock. They bring back Batista. They bring back all the John Cena, the Stone Cold, all the money makers. They thought that was going to happen with Hulk Hogan, but it ended up biting them in the ass. God rest his soul. But, you know, Hulk didn't have the kind of stroke that he used to. His bargaining chip was wasted on Gawker. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but sex tapes, but we got to go there, you know?
What about Cody Rhodes? We haven't talked about him. They've been pushing him as QB1, as he likes to say, quarterback 1, for 2 or 3 years now. He ended the title reign of Roman Reigns. He's had maybe 3 or 4 title reigns since then, and he's on Raw or SmackDown quite a bit. What do you think of the Cody Rhodes usage?
I think if they let Cody do what Cody does best. Cody is not a natural babyface. Okay. I hate to break it to people, but the wrong brother is playing the heel, okay? Because if they let Cody be natural, Cody's a natural heel. And that, my friend, is money all day long. Cody as a heel,
yeah,
plug in the ATM and just start, just keep your hands out, because it's going to throw money at you all fucking day. The problem is you can see it. Cody is having to force the baby face gimmick.
Right.
Even when he does interviews on his podcast, what's it like? What do you want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about? Yeah.
Yeah. You can watch that show. That's a dead giveaway. He is completely and utterly uninterested in any of that. What he really wants to do is be booed. Why? Because booing Cody Rhodes is money in the bank. You'll sell tickets all freaking day at that rate.
It's
You know?
interesting you say that, Angelo. It's interesting you say that because in the time machine that is my brain, and even looking at the backdrop I'm using here, this is a still shot from an AEW. I think it was a pay per view that I attended live, and you can see that that's Daly's place where they were doing a lot of tapings. And Cody Rhodes was there quite a bit when I was going, and it didn't
Mhm.
seem like when he was being booed on occasion, it didn't seem like he enjoyed it. And a lot of people think that part of the reason Cody left AEW was because he was starting to get the John Cena mixed reaction, the babyface getting booed reaction that John Cena got for 10 years. And the word on the street, whether it's true or not, is that Cody did not enjoy that position. He did not enjoy being the babyface that was unpopular. He didn't see a
Yeah.
future in it. And so eventually his interest in AEW wore thin, or they came to a mutual agreement. He left. And as we all know, he's been in WWE ever since. But I see a thing now, not just with Cody, but with Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Kevin Owens, even Sami Zayn, although he's mostly a heel right now. But they were doing this with Drew McIntyre. Everybody's a tweener. Like they have a half dozen guys. I just named them, but
Mhm.
add Roman to the mix, and Cody and Sammy and Punk and Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. These half dozen guys are all babyface one week. A month later, they're a heel.
Yep.
They're all feuding with each other. Randy Orton's in that mix. I mean, Randy Orton, they
Yeah.
officially made a heel because he beat the crap out of Cody one night on SmackDown before the WrestleMania match. But the fans still love Randy Orton. Like Randy Orton can do anything, but the fans are still going to cheer every time he comes out. Or if he comes back from an injury, they're still going to cheer for him. So,
Mikey, it's the Austin syndrome. Think about it.
right.
Think about it. We went through that with Austin and Bret Hart. Bret went in to that match, that I Quit match. Bret went in the babyface and left the heel.
Right.
But and even though there was no official heel turn, the fans chose Austin in that babyface role. Why? Because he drew first blood. Okay. He never said I quit, but I digress. That's it's all story anyway. But the
Yeah.
problem with doing something like that is if you do not follow through, it's dead in the water. Any chances of making money? You gotta remember something, Mikey. I've promoted wrestling for 25 years. Exactly 25 years. I made a lot of money. I spent a lot of money, and I made a lot more money.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what they need to do. Because the what I made my money, I'll be honest with you, I made my money doing what they were doing, what Vince was doing. What they need to do is go back to the drawing board, old school. Remember what worked then. Because if it worked then, just adapt it to the present day. Not remember something. I just said it. The more things change, the more they stay the same. You
Well, I
know?
can give you an example of something they did not too long ago, but maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
They had Kevin Owens, the former Kevin Steen, turned heel for a while, and I believe he pile drove Cody, and Cody comes out and says, "This is the boys in the back know this, that the pile driver, we don't do the pile driver anymore. The pile driver is off limits because of all the injuries and all the careers that it ended." So Cody was trying to make this case that in a kayfabe shoot situation, Kevin Owens had betrayed the wrestling brotherhood by using the deadly pile driver. So
Yeah,
they were,
right.
I mean, but in a sense, it kind of worked because they were. I mean, let's face it, they've blown up kayfabe so far and so deep
Oh,
with Tough Enough and everything else. It's a miracle that anything gets over at all, but it does because people want to believe, people want to enjoy it.
and you just put your finger on it. You just said it. People want to believe. People want to enjoy it.
Right.
but they're not giving them the opportunity for people to enjoy it. Mikey, they got a champion for a Tuesday night, champion for Wednesday afternoon at 5 o'clock. They got
Yeah.
the Friday morning at 8 a.m. champion. That everybody's got a belt. Why don't you just call it the Belt Federation? Everybody's got it. There's too many champions. A heavyweight
Yeah.
champion, and maybe an intercontinental champion, and then maybe if they still have them left, maybe a tag team champion. But that's money that they're missing. That's big time money they're missing. Tag team wrestling.
Yeah. Let's
Because Paul Levesque, you know this, Mikey. Paul Levesque is not a fan of tag team wrestling. He never was, but neither was Vince, for that matter.
right. Let's see what some of these comments say, Angelo, because the comment guys are going. They've got some
Yeah,
stuff to
let's
say.
see what's up there. What do you got up there, Mikey? Ruffian. Oh, Ruffian, go ahead.
Ruffian
Go ahead,
says,
Mike.
I don't care what anyone says. I loved the Stardust gimmick. Stardust was Cody Rhodes as Goldust, offshoot, like the brother of Goldust was Stardust.
Yep.
And that was one of the things that Cody did not like and led to his leaving the WWE, but eventually he came back. And Leon, our buddy Leon, says, I can't stand CM Punk. Never liked him. I'll have some things to say about that in a second. And then back to Ruffian. Honestly, the pile driver always scared me. I always pushed off too early. And Ruffian, I don't know if Ruffian's actually trained to be a wrestler or if he's done some wrestling.
Well, we've talked a little bit about it before. I think he has a little bit of experience wrestling.
Okay.
I want to talk about the Stardust gimmick. I loved that gimmick. The problem with especially when you have a legacy wrestler, don't forget, we got to remember who his dad is, Dusty Rhodes, okay?
Yeah.
That's a big part of the equation. But when he was doing the Stardust gimmick, if they had let the guy do what he knows. He came up with that gimmick. It was his gimmick. Nobody knows your gimmick better than you do. So let him do what he knows how to do. Don't tell, Dusty Rhodes how to do the bionic elbow. He invented the fucking thing,
Right.
This is what we're talking about, Only a guy who can do this and get away. He can get it over. Okay, the guy can do this and get a fucking elbow over. Everything Dusty touched turned to gold. Not because he was great at what he did, but he knew how to do what he did. And if you don't know how to do, don't do. It's simple. If you don't know how to get over, learn. That there's a locker room full of guys that know how to get you over, know how to get themselves over. Ask. I think that's the biggest problem, that people are afraid to make waves. Ask questions. Can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? I'd like some advice to do. None of them. They're all too proud, Mikey. They're all so proud. God bless them. But you know what? They're all so proud. But pride falleth a man, Here's the problem.
Sure,
Go ahead, Mikey. Yeah, please.
Well, I was going back to one of the earlier statements you made on the show, which was, how many fans are there? I mean, it's hard to say because they're not doing the typical house show loop of 5 or 6 shows a week. But when they do these big events, there's a 2-night SummerSlam. There's a 2-night, probably going to be a 2-night Royal Rumble next year. There's a 2-night WrestleMania. They get these big stadiums. They're on Peacock for Sunday night's main event. They're on ESPN for the pay-per-views. ESPN wrote them this big check. I mean, I guess the question could be, will ESPN write them another big check to renew? or are they back on their own after that check runs out? I don't know the answer, but
Well, brother, boy, did you open up a Pandora's box.
yeah.
All right, well, you threw a lot out there, so let the old man with his experience there try to sort this out for you. Okay, so let's figure this out.
Okay.
2 night SummerSlam, 2 night WrestleMania, two night Rumble. Okay, 2 night too many. 1 night. You don't have to. See, here's the problem. We live in the stadium age. Okay, not every show, Mikey, is going to fill a stadium.
Right.
Do a 1 night Royal Rumble. You'll pack the place where you got to turn people away. Guess what? Turn them away. But don't do 2 nights to a half-empty stadium both nights, because you've already lost money if you do that. You've already lost money right off the top.
Let me interject here, because if we're in the days where their revenue is not coming from Mike or Angelo dropping 35 or 40 or $50 for the pay-per-view, but their revenue is coming from the advertising, isn't there more advertising over 2 nights than there is 1 night? That's simple math.
No, that's why wrestling is the way it is.
Okay.
Advertisers have no clue what professional wrestling is. They just don't.
Sure.
They know Budweiser beer. They know Almond Joy bars. They know Slim Jim. That's what they know. They don't care. They don't care how you see their ad, but they want to make sure that their ad is there. Even to the point where I can never believe that I would see the day that they would put a fucking advertisement on the mat in a wrestling ring. I never thought I would see that happen. They've been doing that in boxing for years, but boxing, the only, don't get me started, the only similarity between wrestling and boxing is they both take place in a ring. That's it. That's the only similarity. Boxing is a big money sport. Pro wrestling historically is not. It's the smoke-filled arena, the $10 ticket, the guys drinking stale beer. Okay? That's the wrestling crowd. We have to remember our history. If we remember our history, we can preserve our history. But they're killing the damn history, Mikey.
Well,
because they don't know the business. Go ahead, Mike.
We've got some more comments. I just want to keep the comments going here because
I got a comment, Mikey. Talk me down from the ledge, brother.
Al Ruthian says, we asked him if he had been a wrestler or been training. He says, yeah, I trained for a bit around at a church Amazing Red used to go to before he got big. Well, that's good namesake, Amazing Red. So Sports Talk with Austin, that I believe is a new commenter here, and I'm assuming he's got his own podcast, or he or she's got his own podcast.
Beautiful.
I don't want to make assumptions.
Welcome to Mikey and the Mad Dog.
Yes, hello, Sports Talk. Hello, Austin. I think the problem with Randy Orton being heel is he had near career-ending back surgery, and we, the fans, want to enjoy the time we have left with Randy, not boo. Just like John Cena last year. Very good comment. Very good comment. Yeah, some of these wrestlers, he makes a great point, which is some of these guys get to the point like a John Cena or a Randy Orton or a Rey Mysterio, where they're like they're in the golden circle of the fanhood. So Ruffian says a boxing ring is also stiffer for bumps and for ropes.
You bet your ass it is. You kill yourself in a boxing ring. I'm just thinking about something. The days when Bruno and Superstar Graham used to wrestle, they wrestled in boxing rings. They didn't have no springs underneath that shit, brother. Those things were stiff. Can you imagine Andre taking a bump in a boxing ring?
Ouch.
Ouch. Big time ouch. Ouch for him and the ring, brother.
Yeah. Well, I guess I get to the point here, Angelo, which is to me, wrestling has changed and it hasn't changed. And I also think that, I mean, I'm looking at my wall right here and I've got a collage of ECW photographs from New England matches that I took when I used to go to
Yeah.
these shows. No one
Mhm.
is no one today is going to be able to relate to that experience of going to a 400 seat venue in Waltham, Massachusetts, and watching Rob Van Dam and Sabu versus the Eliminators, right? But for the kid
Right.
today who's going to the shows and he sees, like last night, I watched Raw. They had a really good match, brother versus
Mhm.
brother, Penta versus Ray Phoenix, and then the winner gets a title shot in Mexico City against Roman Reigns for the
Yeah.
title, and Roman Reigns comes out and he has a little stare down with Penta. And for some 8-year-old kid in the audience who just watched Ray Phoenix versus Penta for 15 or 20 minutes, and they did have an awesome match,
Mhm.
and then big bad Roman Reigns comes out with the stare down, and this kid's all excited because in 2 weeks they're going to have Penta versus Roman Reigns in Mexico, and the kid's going to make a big point to watch this thing. Is it that doesn't seem to have changed? You know what I mean? Like that's the same as a young Mike Messier getting excited that Ricky Steamboat came back to the NWA and tore up Ric Flair's suit at the
Mhm.
Clash of the Champions 5, and now they're going to have a big fight at the Chi-Town Rumble. I mean,
Yeah.
what the particulars of streaming versus cable TV versus pay-per-view, those
Oh,
particulars have
brother.
changed,
Oh,
but the
oh
same
man.
dynamics.
Yeah,
You,
I was just about to tell you. Yeah, the dynamics are. That's the difference. The dynamics were Saturday morning television or Friday night TV. Now you've got 24-hour a day streaming. You can watch wrestling anytime you want.
well, what I'm saying though is, in some ways, hasn't changed that much because I'm making a point that
Hmm.
you have a title, you have a champion, and you have a
Right.
guy that wants to get to be that champion, but he's got to
Yeah.
go through these other obstacles like Odysseus going back to see
Sure.
his wife. He's got to go through
Sure.
these other challengers or other matches
Yeah.
or other bad guys to get to the championship fight, which he may or may not win. In a
Yeah.
sense, that hasn't changed. That's the same old story, that basic story. Now, how we get there or how we distribute it, the distribution's much different, but I don't
Yeah.
think I tell you, Angela, when I go to the shows in Jacksonville, that's the NXT shows, the NXT house shows, and there's the same thing as when I was a kid. There's a dad, there might be a mom, there's a couple of little kids, and they're cheering for the wrestlers. It's not that much different than when I was a kid. Like
Yeah.
that's not that much different.
But here's the difference, though. And I respect that opinion, and you're absolutely right. There's not much difference from when you were a kid. Here's where years make a difference.
Okay.
Okay, I would say I would safely say that I am probably substantially older than you
All right.
by like a lifetime. Here's the thing, though. I saw guys that didn't look like the athletes we saw today. I saw these guys like Bulldog Brower, who had a beer belly,
Right.
Dick the Bruiser, the Crusher, the original Sheik, Eddie Farhad. These guys didn't look like athletes. But, brother, let me tell you what these guys could do in spades was draw money.
Sure.
They drew money everywhere they went because they stuck to a simple formula: good guy, bad guy, baby face, heel, the blow off, the big match, the comeback. It's a simple formula in wrestling, and it works every time. I went to and I told, for the interest of our audience, before Mikey and I went on the air, I was telling him about a reunion. I am a part of the Cauliflower Alley Club. I'm a lifetime member of Cauliflower Alley. Well, the Cauliflower Alley Club was having its 30th anniversary along with the NWA's 50th anniversary in New Jersey. And everybody was there, including Dusty Rhodes, Abdul the Butcher, Jim Ross, Cactus Jack, everybody. Everybody that was a name was there. Ric Flair, everyone. Okay. Gordon Soley. Um, that show, it's amazing because after the convention was over, Mikey, almost everybody left. There were maybe 500 people in the arena part
Right.
of this convention center, right? There were maybe 500 people. Of course, everybody was around the ring, and the whole rest of the place was empty. 2,000 seats empty. On that show, for maybe, and I'm being generous when I say 500, on that show, Steven Regal / William Regal, Jim Cornette, Harley Race, Abdul the Butcher, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA making an appearance, Manny Fernandez making an appearance, the Headbangers, both of the Funk Brothers, Terry and Dory Jr., God rest their soul, and everybody who was everybody at ECW were all
Right.
there. Okay, Mike, you would have thought that they were wrestling for a Madison Square Garden crowd, what they gave that night. And there were maybe 400 or 500 people that stayed because a lot of people didn't even know. If they read their ticket stub, they would have known. But a lot of people didn't even know that there was going to be a wrestling show after the convention.
Yeah.
They thought the convention's over, we go home. Well, no, stay because there's a show. Look at your ticket. It
Right.
says convention and show. Mikey,
Yeah. Yeah.
they gave everything they had. Everything. But that's what's missing. They not get. Because, what do they got to get? They're not encouraged, Mikey. They're not encouraged to give everything they got. When you're making 8-9 million a year and your downside is 1.5 million, where's the incentive to work? Look at, you heard what CM Punk said. He says, I get paid whether I work or not. I get paid the
Right.
same whether I work or not. He's telling you, hey, I don't give a shit. I'm getting paid anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's right. He's right. Who's up in the rough says, let me see. Oh, no, here we go. I'm down here. Here we go. Sports Talk, Austin. I'm 23. Pro wrestling is my blood. I grew up with John Cena, Shawn Michaels. You're a Shawn Michaels fan, John Cena fan. God bless you, brother. They were sports entertainment personified. See, that's another thing. I didn't grow up, Austin, watching sports entertainment. I grew up watching professional wrestling. Okay? That's the difference. I watched pro wrestling. I don't understand sports entertainment. Mikey, I just don't. Call me the old
it's
fart
a
in the room,
term.
but I don't get
I
it.
mean, it's a term that Vince McMahon started using in the mid '80s. I never particularly liked the term either, and I think for a generation like Austin's generation, and I don't hold it against him, but that's just a term that was interchangeable with wrestling, at least WWE wrestling. And there
Yeah.
have been times when they played around with that. With, like, if you go back to 2011, which Austin would probably remember, if you
Yeah.
CM Punk and John Cena were both using the term sports entertainment as a dig or as a put down. I mean, I think here's another thing. It comes down to things like perspective and frame of reference. I mean, what was
Yeah.
I watching? What was I watching at 1:00 in the morning, Angelo? I was watching 1986 house show footage of the Great American Bash, NWA, Ronnie Garvin and Tully Blanchard in a taped fist match, and Baby Doll. And,
The Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin. I love that guy. He was great.
yeah, well, the point is, everything is better when you're 13, right? Like ice cream.
Yep.
You think, women are going to be better than they are. Yeah, wrestling's better than it is.
Yeah.
Like everything when you're 13 or 14 or whatever, that's when everything's the best. And then life,
Absolutely.
cruel, vicious life comes and shits on your parade, so to speak. So I'm just saying that I think it's perspective. Like, for instance, when Austin just mentioned he grew up on Shawn Michaels and John Cena, I think immediately, I think it was 2007, wasn't it, Austin, when those two guys wrestled at WrestleMania 23? They had a hell of a good match at WrestleMania 23. I believe it went 55 minutes, and John Cena won the match. And then they had a non-title rematch from Europe on Raw that Shawn Michaels won after 57 minutes or 58 minutes. So I can't really fault. I can't fault Austin if that's what he grew up with, then he remembers the post. The returning Shawn Michaels after the back injury, and he remembers the early days of John Cena. Then that's his Bruno Sammartino and his Pedro Morales, Angelo. That's just his interpretation of it.
Mikey, we got to sell some coffee cups and some T-shirts and some Mike Messier products and artwork and some books. So let's do that right now. And folks, we will be right back after this.
Got your coffee mugs lined up, morning pour in your hands. T-shirts fresh off the shelf, books you can hold and scan. Yeah, you know the name. Now you know the name. Bring it back again, grab one, grab two, show your crew the proof. Wear it, share it, keep that feeling true. Whoa, Mikey and the Mad Dog, say it out loud. Mikey and the Mad Dog, wear it with pride. Mikey and the Mad Dog, simply.
You're on a hot date, you're making the cut. You can't be dealing with a faulty left nut. Manscaped is the answer for your gnarly nut sack. Before that babe tells you to hit the road, Jack. In this crazy world of ours, we're often climbing the walls. In all of the confusion, don't forget about your balls. Manscaped to the rescue for your precious crown jewels. Get it today, don't delay. Please be good to your tools.
Got your coffee mugs lined up, morning pour in your hands. T-shirts fresh off the shelf, books you can hold and scan. Yeah, you know the name. Yeah, you know the name. Bring it back again, grab one, grab two, show your crew the proof. Wear it, share it, keep that fella true. Whoa, Mikey and the Mad Dog, say it out loud. Mikey and the Mad Dog, wear it with pride. Mikey and the Mad Dog, simply repeat. Mikey and the Mad Dog, that's your kind of treat. Coffee mug by the sink, T-shirt on your back. Book on the table now, got that collector track. One more, pick your favorite thing, fresh off the shelf, let the whole room sing. Mikey and the
It's Mikey and the Mad Dog on Tuesday night, WTBR Radio 88.7 in Philadelphia. We are back live and uncensored. Mikey, when last we left, you were reminding me of how old I actually am. Thank you for that. But you said something important just before the break. It's all a matter of perspective. I think that's important. Understanding the perspective, where we came from personally, where we came from as an industry wrestling, and more importantly, not only where we came from, but where we intend to go and how we intend to get there. Right. I think that it would behoove TKO, Endeavor Sports, and WWE. I'm going to talk about that for a second. It would behoove them to remember that's a matter of perspective. They can't. It does them no good to try to utilize the same thing over and over and hoping for a different result. That's the definition of failure. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I want I have to say this. I want people to understand. That's critical. It's absolutely critical. There is no more WWE. It's on paper only. Those of you who bitch about WWE and the creative WWE creative, there is zero WWE creative. Zero. That's all done by guys in a boardroom at TKO Endeavor in Las Vegas. People who you don't know. People named Ari Emanuel. People named Mark Shapiro. These guys are the head honchos of this group. All right? WWE is essentially dead. It does not exist. It's a doing business as. It's a DBA or a TBA, trading business as WWE. But make no mistake, it is TKO Endeavor Sports. That's that. So let's talk about that. A lot of people are I'm going to get a lot of heat for that, but it's the truth. You can Google it. You can look it up. I'm not making a word of this up. Given the fact, Mikey, that WWE is essentially on paper only, and I know he's going to have something to say about this one. WrestleMania 23 and Raw in London 2007 is, well, to me, as a young kid, that I was a nerve-wracking because I didn't know who would cheer for. Yeah, join the club, Austin. We didn't know who to cheer for either, brother. I love them both. That's my version of Macho Man as Hogan. Yeah, there you go. What do you say about that, Mike? You talk to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the thing about wrestling. We're talking about the state of affairs now, but inevitably everybody feels best when they talk about their favorite times of the sport, is what I'll call it, or pro wrestling. And so Austin's going to go back, and to him, this seems like a lifetime ago because he was a young kid. But to us, that doesn't seem that long ago, because to us, that was like 2 months ago, which was the Shawn Michaels Cena feud. It doesn't seem like that long ago to me, but it is to Austin, which is fine. And I think that's why wrestling, in my opinion, Angelo, they try to kill it, but it'll never die because it's too simple. It's too simple. It's a ring. You just need a ring, two wrestlers to wrestle in the ring, a referee to declare a winner, a ring announcer to call it out loud. Even that you could get by with the referee doing the same thing. But my point
hope to God that somebody from WWE just heard what the fuck you said. I hope somebody heard what you said. Did you hear what Messier said? This is why they call him the movie maker, okay? Because he's got this vision, this head that's amazing, okay? Listen to what he said. It's not rocket science, is what he said. You need a ring, a couple of guys to get in the ring, somebody to call it, and maybe somebody to sell you some stale popcorn and way expensive Coca-Cola or beer. But that's it. That's what you need.
It's very simple, and that's why it's successful, and that's why I'm telling you, Angelo, the wrestling shows that I've been to in the last couple of years, the Ring of Honor TV taping at a PBS studio here in Jacksonville. I went to 2 NXT tapings at the Performance Center, and I went to a couple of NWA shows, the Billy Corgan NWA down in Tampa, and that was at a TV studio. And all of these venues were about 400 seats, very intimate, a lot of couples, a lot of families, and people are having a good time. And so if the distribution, that's what I'm getting at. I just think the distribution's different. Like tonight, if you're a hardcore wrestling fan, you can watch NXT at 8 o'clock on CW, or you can go to YouTube and there's a million things of wrestling. You can watch MLW. Karrion Kross apparently has been the MLW champion for 7 months. I mean, that's the thing we could talk about too, is guys that have been let go. Karrion Kross and the New Day of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are probably the biggest examples I can give you.
I was hoping to ask you about that. Mikey, I
Yeah.
got to ask you about that. Boy, I could see people at WWE going nuts at the thought at the prospect of these guys going in their first day and being crowned the tag champions, the 3-man tag champions. I
Right.
can see the conversation that's happening. Good move, bad move, or was it a up yours to the WWE?
I think it's just a way to welcome the new guys. I think it was a smart move because let's face it, the trios title is a secondary tag team title, and the tag team title is a secondary title in the first place, right? So if you
Right.
give Xavier Woods, Consequences Creed, if you give him and Kofi championships, and you give them a new third guy, Shane Strickland, who's very popular, and
Yeah.
he's designated as the singles guy, and they're designated as the tag team guys. That all makes sense. And you give them a different name, the New Level instead of the New Day,
Yeah.
and everybody's happy. And the only thing they did wrong with that, in my opinion, Angelo, is they should have given us 10 seconds of the New Level coming out on the free hour preview show, because I think there would have been more people who would have said, oh my God, the New Day or the New Level is now in AEW. I got to order this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I think they would have had more.
I got a question about that.
Sure.
I have you might be able to answer this. I hope you can anyway, because I'm going to ask you. The idea of, for example, ESPN giving like an hour of free time before a live event. Netflix, giving blocks of time for for live events. All right, so let's talk about that for a second, because I don't understand, like, giving away the baby with the bathwater. Why not just charge somebody for the entire thing, or just give it to them for free? You've got enough advertisers that can more than easily pick up the cost. More than easily pick
Well,
up the cost.
I guess I'll try to answer that. It's just like the reason to give an hour of, say, WrestleMania with a couple of marquee matches and then switch over to the ESPN Plus where you have to pay the app fees is because there's got to be an incentive for people like me to pay the $50 a month for the app, right? So
Yeah.
if you give it all away for free on the regular, but here's the thing, the regular ESPN, you still have to pay for that somehow. You have to have cable or something. So my
Right.
point is, there's two ways to market things. There's like you just said, there's the way of it's either free or it's all pay-per-view, one or the other, or you give away. It's like when you go to the supermarket and they give you a sampling of a brownie, and 1 out of 20 people might buy the actual brownie mix, right? If you give away 20 little chunks of brownies to people in the Publix or the Safeway, maybe 1 out of 20, if you get 1 out of 20 people to buy a whole box of Duncan Hines brownie mix, you've made your money back from all those little
Mikey,
samplings.
have you ever met my wife, Mikey?
I have not yet.
My wife will go into BJ's Club or a supermarket. She will eat every bit of sample that she gets, then come home and say she's full. I'm not hungry.
There you go.
This is what she does. She will. Sam's Club, BJ's Club. If there's samples to be found, Anita DeCipio will find it. I assure you.
Right.
She'll find it.
Right.
It's. I have something. This is. I love this here. Austin. By the way, Austin, you. How did you guys find us? Thank you for being here, and help support us. Help support us here. And we'll do a little trade back and forth. Ultimately, I love the storytelling of pro wrestling. Take me on a journey with you. Why should I feel this way? For example, Brock Lesnar and Cena. Why should I care that Cena needs to beat Brock? Well, that's a really good question, Mikey. And answer that question. Can you please?
Well, I think he's going back to about 6 or 7 months ago. It was actually about a year ago this time, maybe October, around that WrestlePalooza 2025. Okay. I think they had John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, for the last time. And the way that the match played out is that Cena, who had just turned back to babyface after his heel run, Cena actually ended up getting tooled and destroyed by Lesnar. And a lot of fans were critical of that. They thought it made Cena look very weak. But then other fans chimed in and basically said, you know what? Brock has always gotten the better of Cena and The Undertaker and a couple of other key guys. So why not just, it was a way for them to rebuild Lesnar over Cena. And then they went to a babyface match of Cena versus AJ Styles, I think, the next month on Cena's, Cena's retirement tour was a very interesting series of events in booking. And I personally enjoyed it more than most people did. But what I think Austin's getting at is he loves the storytelling of pro wrestling. If you put his comment back up there, he says, ultimately, I love the storytelling of pro wrestling. It takes me on a journey. And why should I feel this way? Why should I feel that my John Cena? See, it's like Austin's putting the possession. This is not just any guy. This is my guy. And why does it matter if he beats Brock Lesnar? And that's the point. If it matters at all, if it still matters at all, it means they've done a good job, because we all know it's predetermined. We all know that it doesn't matter who the better man is. It's who the better man, according to the pencil, is. And so they've done a good job. And like I said, they've also done a good job because it's a simple task. It's you put a couple of guys in the ring.
Just now. You mentioned something just now that you don't hear much anymore. You talked about, and now because of people like Brian Pillman and Kevin Sullivan, we know the Booker man and we know what the pencil is. Okay, so the pencil is the Booker. You don't have bookers anymore. You don't have bookers. You have 12 or 13 guys sitting around the table who can't find their asshole.
Well,
because they're looking for something that doesn't exist anymore. Talk to me Messier old school, not Mad Dog old school, because I'm way the fuck old school. I can relate to your time period. Talk to me about what you see as the difference between when a booker booked a wrestling show and how, for lack of a better analogy, for how a boardroom is booking a wrestling show. If they're even booking it, Mikey. But I digress. Go ahead.
I think it comes down to the old cliche of too many cooks in the kitchen. And basically, I don't think if you took the WWE creative writing team and let's say there's 12 people on it, I don't think that there's probably not, there might be one or two, but there's probably not a bona fide moron or a bona fide idiot on that team. The problem is when you have so many people, and this is the same thing with movie making, when you have too many people contributing to a film or to a creative project or to wrestling, everybody wants to put their spin on the idea. Nobody can just let the other guy or the other woman have an idea and support it. Hey, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Everyone has to put their own little spin on it. So you have 12 people putting their own little spin until the idea is basically bastardized. It's warped. It's trying to appease 12 different people with 12 different opinions. And I've been in that situation with the film, Angelo. I mean, I worked on a film that had 4 screenwriters on it, and it came out to be a real mess and very disappointing for everybody because too many people had a vision and there wasn't a singular vision. So when you compare that with the mid-'80s Dusty Rhodes booking, and Dusty Rhodes is saying, hey, me and Magnum TA should be calling ourselves the James Boys, and we should put on black masks and attack the Midnight Express, or I should take this chair and bash Big Bubba Rogers over the head with it, or Tully Blanchard should accuse Baby Doll of cheating on him and give her a slap, and then I'll come out and save him. When you have the Dusty booking, for as much of Dusty gets some ridicule for some of his booking antics with disqualifications, but if you compare the single vision holder, whether it's Fritz von Erich in Texas or Dory Funk Jr. with Starcade 83, or Eddie Graham was considered a great booker, or Bill Watts many times was a great booker. If you compare that singular booker man versus a committee, I'll take a singular booker every day of the week.
Absolutely. Absolutely. On that note, Mikey, we reached the end of another show. We have to promote the hell out of ourselves. I'm gonna just say that Austin and Ruffian, if you guys are still here, we are expanding exponentially here. Mike Messier has an amazing book, and I want you to get this. The audio version is out now. It's called Fight or Play Basketball. And Mikey, I'm going to have to buy you a really good background, brother.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to buy you a green screen. So Fight or Play Basketball is both the audio version and the hard and soft cover versions of Fight or Play Basketball. It's an amazing book. Mike is going to tell the story behind that on a very special episode we're going to do about that. And then we are doing a very special show for Mikey. We're going to promote his art. We're going to promote Mike Messier's art. I got a couple of books we're going to promote, but I'm not really worried about that because I made my money on them. But we're going to take care of Mikey here. Mikey and the Mad Dog. There's a reason it's called Mikey and the Mad Dog, because he's Mikey and I'm the Mad Dog.
There you go.
Mikey, promote yourself. What do you got going on, brother?
I just found an old business card that's floating around. It's MikeMessier.com. You can see it. My background screen messes up the picture, but you can see MikeMessier.com. There's an old business
I see
card.
that, yes.
So in any event, Ko-fi, for the people that know what Ko-fi is, or if you don't know what it is, it's a pretty cool website. It's kind of like Patreon, but different. If you go to ko-fi.com/MMA for Mike Messier art, or just find yourself on Ko-fi and look up Mike Messier art. You'll find my Ko-fi page, and you can buy some of my paintings if you want, or just watch some of my films for free if you want. So you can do that too.
You can find Mikey at MikeMessier.com. You can also find Mike Messier's full website at WTBR.podbean.com. That will change in about 2 weeks. It will be WTBR.fm. Simple. WTBR.fm. Who we are. And it's not only who we are, it's where we are. We're at WTBR.fm. We have an amazing show next week, Mikey. We have a bona fide television legend joining us on next week's show. On I believe it's September the 7th is when she will be here, and she sure to hell will. September the 7th, Michael Learned from the Waltons. She played Mama Walton, Olivia Walton on the Waltons, opposite the actor Ralph Waite and Richard Thomas, old John Boy, and Melissa. What was her name? I forget her name anyway.
Melissa Gilbert.
Melissa, yeah. That was a Little House.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was real. Oh, shit. You know what's funny? Because we have a guy the following week. Dean Butler will be here from Little House. Played Melissa Gilbert's husband on that show. We have some incredible shows coming up. We have Lou Ferranti, former insider in the Gambino crime family, will be here to talk about the 5 families of the mafia, and he will help us dissect what really happened on the Kennedy motorcade route, because he is a bona fide historian in that regard. He'll be here. We have, what else do we have? We got so much coming up, folks. Oh, Russ Briot will be here. Dr. Russ Briot will be here. We're going to find out what's really behind the Shroud of Turin. He is a bona fide expert, one of the most renowned in the world, as a matter of fact, on what the Shroud of Turin actually is. We will find out together. Is it actually the burial cloth of Jesus, or is it something else? We'll find out. Russ will be here. He's a hell of a nice guy, very smart guy too. What a whip! And we will have more shows on pro wrestling and film. We are actually going to do, Mike, you don't know this yet, but I'm going to tell him now. We are actually going to do an entire 2 nights show dedicated to the art of independent filmmaking. We're going to do indie. I will tell you that today, in the film market, there are more independent films, thanks to COVID, by the way. A blessing came out of COVID. There are more independent films and filmmakers because of COVID than there are studio pictures being made. For lots of reasons, Mikey, not the least of which is something you wrote a book about.
Right.
The budgets of, how to make a movie on low, no, or, any kind of budget. So, and we're going to talk about your book as well as that show. So we got a lot coming up, folks. Thank you to Sports Talk with Austin for joining us. I invite you, Austin, why don't you join us sometime, and we can do it, and you and I and me and Mikey and whoever you got on Austin Sport Talk, join us, and we'll do like a, we'll join the forces, and we'll do
Crossover.
like a sports show. Yeah, that's the word, collaborate. Yes, absolutely. We can do that for sure. But in the meantime, like Papa DeCipio always said, tomorrow's promised to no one, so be kind to each other. Be good to somebody. Do something nice for Mikey, the movie maker Messier. I am Angelo, the Mad Dog DeCipio. Take care of yourselves, folks. We'll see you next week, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Bye-bye.